Welcome back to the World Revolution News. My name is Thomas Jefferson and today is December 2nd, 2011. Today we will cover the question of why people find ignorance bliss, and therefore are hesitant to join the revolution, even when confronted with the facts of how the banking cartel is destroying us. Did you ever wonder why, even when you tell people about how serious the economic situation is, you find out that it's as if it went in one ear and right out the other ear? Well, there seems to be some science behind the old saying of ignorance is bliss. Emily Pankhurst has more about the recent study.
Welcome back everyone from around the world. People who lack knowledge about complicated issues are more likely to avoid information about those issues, and instead have faith that government will do the right thing to solve these problems, according to new research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. They conducted a series of 4 separate experiments. Stephen Shepherd, of the University of Waterloo, Ontario, and Professor Aaron C.K., at Duke University. These two have demonstrated that ignorance about an issue leads people to become more dependent on government, which leads to greater faith in government, which, in turn, leads them to avoid learning more about the issue. The article detailed how people, in general, might be expected to seek more information when faced with a complex problem. They will actually do the opposite and avoid more information on the issue, because maintaining unfamiliarity is an ideal way to protect the psychologically comfortable, even if it's not true, belief that the government is taking care of the problem. The research is actually based on system justification theory, which says that people have a general motivation to see the systems they live in, and their society and its laws, social norms, institutions, are fair, just, and legitimate. Uncertainty brings anxiety, and one way to deal with that anxiety is to simply outsource personal responsibility to supposed qualified others, said the researchers. While this outsourcing makes sense in some situations where expertise is required, such as brain surgery or building a bridge, the researchers believe that the outsourcing is problematic for collective issues, such as global warming and economic recessions. The study went on to say that it can be argued that only the collective can help to resolve issues such as global warming or economic recessions, to the extent that these issues are caused, at least in part, by the collective. But, to the extent people feel overwhelmed or confused by social issues, they may come to feel as dependent on the government to solve environmental and economic problems as they are on their engineers to fix an unstable structure. Or you could say that when people put their faith in government to solve problems, they become less critical of the government they already believe in. Also in the study, being actively critical of something, one is dependent on thought to be psychologically uncomfortable, and therefore avoided in favor of increased perceptions of legitimacy, trust, and desirability. Or you could say the more people put more trust in government, the more likely they will avoid information suggesting that government is not trustworthy. And avoiding the truth, in turn, leads to greater ignorance in the issues that government is trusted to handle. Shepherd said he sees the Occupy Wall Street movement as an exception to his theory. Participants in that movement are showing a healthy dose of skepticism toward their government. When discussing that movement along with the Tea Party movement, he went on to say the following. Generally, I think of those movements as representing instances where people are not following our model, possibly because these are people who feel a sense of personal control, and, secondly, feel like their behavior can create change. This sense of personal control and ability to create change may make people feel less dependent on the government, or change how they respond to perceived dependence. End quote. Shepherd also went on to say he would like to do more research on the Occupy and Tea Party exceptions, but said he suspects he will find these people to have a sense of autonomy and personal control, openness to experience or comfort with ambiguity and uncertainty. End quote. So in turn we can summarize by saying that the more urgent the issue, the more people want to stay in the dark. And if that a study published by the American Psychological Association is to be believed, then we can understand why this has felt like an uphill battle to educate others, if not an impossible situation to embark.
Until next week, tell everyone you know that ignorance is bliss, and that it's the United Banking Cartel versus us, not me versus you. For we are the many, and they are the few.
Have a good weekend, everyone. We will see next week here at the World Revolution News.